Hi, this is Alan Wolk, Global Lead Analyst at Kit Digital, and I'm going to be taking a look at the Aereo today for VideoNuze.com. We're going to start off looking at it on the iPad. When you open the app, you see a listing of channels. There's about 24 channels over the air and some special channels, even some foreign language channels. Now, if you select a program, what happens is you see a button asking you to watch or record. So say you want to watch, it takes a while to load up because it's recording it at the same time, and then it shows you in a small screen, which you've then got to push one of that button on the side with the double arrows to bring it up to full screen. Now we're going to take a look at changing the channel, which can actually be a pretty lengthy process. So step one, you have to bring it back to the smaller picture. Then you've got to go into the program guide and look for your channel, find it, hit watch, at which point it brings it up and it loads for a little bit, and then you've actually got the picture, and then you've got to bring that to full screen. Let's look at some of the other features that they've got. You can change the video quality. You've got a number of other things you can do, from customization to social networks. You can see the different channels that they have on the system, which is some of them you can choose to hide. After you look at that, you can also search. You can do a search for future programming. You can see where the antenna is and how much space you've got left on the DVR. And you can also look at your recordings on the DVR. So say we're going to play The Office here. It's a several step process. Again, it comes in very nice looking, but you've got a several step to actually get it full screen. Now, Aereo recently launched a Roku app, and since we're looking at it as a possible replacement for your set-top box, let's take a look at that. So you come in and you've got a number of options here as to how you can watch it. So let's say we're going to choose guide, and we go to the guide, and then you have another option, time or channel. So let's go to channel or time, time. And we're going to see what we have here. We've got a number of channels, and like the current Roku interface, you've got to scroll through in this sort of film strip to get from one channel to the next, which is not the best interface, because when you get all the way to the end of it, past shows like Adam 12 and some of the foreign language shows, you get all the way to the end of all of their channels here. And if you got to go back one by one. So say we do that, and we would decide we want to watch the final 4. So you've got to decide whether you want to watch it or record it, and you have that option every time. So say you want to watch, and then there's that lag because it's recording it as you say watch, and then there's that lag. And I have a 50 up and down, so that's a pretty fast connection on there through Fios. But you get the game, and it actually looks really good. The picture quality is excellent. Really looks just as good as it does through the set-top box. There's no buffering or anything like that. Now, when you go back again, you want to change the channel. So you've got to go back and scroll through, hit watch again. So it's certainly not as easy as changing channels on your regular set-top box. And then you've got that buffering going on and on and on. So finally NBC comes up, and what you see is a whole lot of commercials. If you're used to watching TV via Netflix or your DVR, you'll be surprised at the number of commercials on live TV. And a little bit we'll take a look at how Aereo deals with that. But right now we're going to take a look at how it works as a DVR. So you go into your recordings, and you choose that, and you can choose it by date or by show if you've got a lot of recordings, and we're going to look at it by show. So we're going to look at Family Guy, and the first thing you're going to notice is a whole lot of buffering. This has been a big problem I've noticed with Aereo, that it takes a while for anything to start up. And again, we're looking at a 50 up and down Fios system here, so I can only imagine how much longer the buffering would be on a slower system. So we'll just wait till it stops buffering, which had happened. Here we go. And now the one thing to notice is the excellent picture quality here, which is just as good as you get from standard cable broadcast when it finally shows up. One of the cool things about Aereo is that you can actually control it from your iPad. You just choose something called dual screen, and you immediately can start controlling it from the iPad. You've got a number of different options here too, including share on Facebook. That's what it looks like. So now we're going to look at how Aereo allows you to skip through commercials, at least on the iPad. On the TV, you just hit that little skip button. It moves really quickly and smoothly. The only downside is you first have to minimize the screen in order to do that, and then when you're done, you have to maximize it so that it's back to full screen. Now, unfortunately, you don't have that functionality on the iPhone. The best you can do with the iPhone is send it back 30 seconds. But you have it on the TV. You have to use the iPad to do it, and it doesn't work as smoothly as it does on the iPad. It takes a few seconds for each of the skips to happen, but eventually they do, and that way when you're watching a recorded program, you don't have to sit through the commercials, just the same as when you are watching it on cable, and you can use the remote to skip in 30-second intervals. Now, I wanted to leave this running a little bit just to show you the quality of the picture and how good and vibrant it looks. Now, TV Everywhere is one of the key features of Aereo and one of the reasons people have gotten so excited about it. So I thought we'd take it for a test drive on a New Jersey Transit train trip. Because while you can watch TV in the bathroom, watching it on the train is a hard use case, but likely to be one of the more common. And unfortunately, the experience pretty much sucks. Here we can see on the iPhone, and it's got a slightly different interface than the iPad, but that loading button just keeps going longer and longer. And then you've got a ton of buffering. Now, granted, this is a moving train, and I am on an iPhone 5 with a 4G connection, but it just buffers way too much for this to be anything resembling an enjoyable experience. As you can see here, watching a recorded program doesn't net any better results than watching a live experience. You still get tons of buffering. Now, that's not Aereo's fault. That's the fact that the US does not have a very good 4G network anywhere. And as a result, you're not going to have a very good experience no matter where you're watching it. On a train, in a car, or even standing still. You're still going to be suffering from all that buffering. So in conclusion, I'm finding that the Aereo is a pretty good in-home device. It's got excellent picture quality, albeit a somewhat cumbersome user experience. As an out-of-home device, it's not bad if you have Wi-Fi, but if you don't, you've got the buffering issue. So what's the future of Aereo? Well, I'm thinking it's a great companion to have if you already have a cable subscription. It's something you could put in via a Roku in the spare room or in a kid's room and use if you want to watch the Today Show on your iPad while you're eating breakfast. At $8 a month, it's a great deal, and it expands the amount of television that you can watch, especially when it's paired with a Roku device. This is Alan Wolk signing off for VideoNuze.com.